In comments that I've read and in questions that I get lately, one of the most consistent topics is, okay, Marcus, if pricing has dropped in Austin and things are correcting itself, why is my rent still as high as it is? Why is it still increasing on my renewals? And we're going to answer that question in this video. But to answer it, the best way to understand what's happening in Austin, Texas is to understand what's happening around Austin, Texas. So this video is going to cover on what's happening, and then we're going to touch on how and why it's happening. So number one, on a national average, the entire country, rent and prices have increased by 0.16% as of last January, according to RealPage's Market Insights. That is about 0.08% shy of the decade average of 0.24%. So not by a whole lot, but just by a little bit, okay? The second thing, when we look at the U.S. apartment renting industry as a whole, two regions decreased in apartment rents, while two other regions increased. The regions that decreased was the West and the South. Hello, Mike there. Was the West and the South. The two regions that increased were the Midwest and the Northeast. And so, Texas being in Midwest, that also means that Austin, Dallas, and obviously all the cities in Texas. So the Midwest increased along with the Northeast. And the most common or the major determining factor was supply. There were less apartments available in the Midwest and the Northeast compared to the West and the South. And then we have the fourth piece, the what's happening. Austin's apartment rent price actually decreased by 7.2% compared to last year. So not on a 10-year run, not on a decade run, but compared to last January, it dropped 7.2%. So that gives you a savings of $72 a month per $1,000 that you're paying in rent. Now, you're probably not going to buy a brand new vehicle with that, but hey, you saved a couple bucks. Put it in the bank, invest it, make some more money from assets, right? So now let's focus on the why, the how, what's going on? How is my apartment rent still increasing even though you say that the price dropped, but $72, what am I going to do with that, Marcus? Groceries. Or what is causing my rent to stay high even though I get my renewal, it's still increased, I'm not seeing this decrease, Marcus. Well, here are three things that are impacting, or three major factors that are impacting that rent price. Number one, remote work has changed the game, right? For the last decade, and I want to say the last decade, when we look at the traditional time frame of a decade from 2010 to 2019, job growth in a particular area was the major determinant for apartment rent increases, right? But when you got to 2020, to fast forward today, 5 years later, remote work, number one, remote work changed the game, because now it was typically high-paying white-collar jobs that people could do from anywhere, or if you could do your job from your laptop, it made the job growth per region determining factor completely irrelevant, right? So that's the one thing. Number two, housing affordability. Now we're going back nationwide. When we look at it from a national view, housing prices have gone up around 50%, 50, whereas rent prices have only increased by 29%. So that's a 21% difference between home affordability and apartment rents. Well, if you can't afford to, one, buy a home, or number two, keep your home, right? Because you moved to Texas, there are going to be property taxes. So you have mortgage plus property taxes. Well, that increased 50%. Home ownership increased 50%. So with rent only increasing 29%, that's a difference of 21. People started making the transition. When people started transitioning from when people started transitioning from homes to now renting, well, now you have even more demand or additional demand that wasn't there in a previous year or previous time because they were homeowners. And then third, more residents are renewing their lease these days, right? So people are staying put. Most people aren't aren't moving each year. Oh, okay, I'm gonna experience this side of Austin. I'm gonna experience that side of Austin. I'm gonna go to North Austin. Oh, I'm living South Austin. More people are just renewing where they're already living. So if they renew, that's less available apartments for that property, meaning there's less supply to meet demand, especially if you're in a very dense or popular area. So if there's less available, rents can still go up because remember, apartment rents are based on supply and demand. So those are three main elements, three main things that are that's impacting your apartment rents. That's why you are seeing the prices where they are, because those three factors, remote work plus housing affordability is getting more expensive, and then three, more residents are staying put, staying where they're at, so that unit is not being available for someone else to move in, are the reasons why you are seeing what you're seeing with apartment rents. So I hope this quick video is insightful. I hope it's helpful. If you had that question, I hope I answered it. If you know anyone who had that question, share this video with them so they can get the insights as well. If I've missed anything, or if you want me to cover anything in a future video, please by all means leave me a comment. I'd be happy to do it. Or if you're not looking for an apartment, or you're getting ready to move, or if you've already moved, take a look in the description. We have a couple of links to help you put the right things in your apartment, maybe a furniture set, maybe some home office supplies. We have a few links in the description below that can help you get started with that as well. So until next time, thanks for listening. Stay awesome. Stay amazing.
Whoa.